Hello, it's Greg Rosengager. We're back. We hope you're having a happy day wherever you're listening to this audio content from. As always, we'd like to thank you for your continued support of Greg Rosengager social media and writing efforts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is episode 028 of the Greg Rosengager, definitely not a podcast show. A light and fluffy look at social media, Japan, Japanese food, expat life, and life in general. As always, your retweets of this and all the wonderful, wonderful, wonderful content that we actively tweet and retweet out on Craig Hoffman 11 on Twitter is appreciated. Thank you in advance for helping us get the good word out about Greg, Grizzled, and Gaijin. Today we're talking about how to keep going in the face of adversity. Years ago, I was a music student and I was in college, and it was a great struggle. I really should not have gone to college to study music. Funny enough, and people often laugh, although it's really sad if you live through it, music was my worst subject in school. Funny. But I was good enough to get a scholarship to a pretty good Midwest university. A university that I could not have attended, perhaps, majoring in anything else, just due to the significant cost. But that music scholarship allowed me to go to a university that was literally 5 minutes from my house. I lived at home for the 4 years. I was able to save a lot of money on room and board thanks to my beloved mother. I didn't pay any rent, and she always made sure I had a little gas money and something to eat. But I clearly did not have the skills to be on the upper side of the music world in the beginning. I came in and we took a placement exam for music theory, and I scored 36%. That's not good, right? I couldn't read bass clef at all. I was a trumpet player. That was all treble clef. I was good. I mean, I knew what bass clef was, and if I used some mnemonic, I probably could fumble my way through to finding some pitch on the staff. Had no piano skills at all. My great piano teacher is now chairman of the department. And, I sat down. She's like, "What can you play?" And I said, "I can't play anything." And she pulled out a book, a kind of a music major kind of book, and I couldn't play anything. She pulled out a junior high school book for piano people, and I couldn't play anything, really. I fumbled through a couple of measures, maybe. She pulled out an elementary school book, and I could play a bit. And finally, she pulled out, the very basic, first year elementary school piano book, and I was able to play that a little, and we started there. That's how little I knew and what little skill set I had for it. And so, of course, I had no ear training skills. I'm terrible at ear training. I failed nearly all of those exams. Sight singing, I had no experience. And, the solfege, that's the do, re, mi stuff, I was terrible. It used to take me hours to prepare those for the weekly exams that we had. It took me hours of practice to get piano excerpts ready for the class and ability to transpose on site. It took me hours of studying to get ready for the music theory exams, the ability to write those 4-part harmonies and all the rules. If you know that well, a lot of the Bach-esque kind of rules from the Baroque period. They're not impossible to learn, but there's a lot of them. And I say that not as a humble brag, but I say that 4 years later, I graduated with distinction in music from that university. And I became a graduate teaching assistant, teaching, oddly enough, general music and basic piano classes. And I graduated at the top of that program 2 years later. And I'm not some super genius. I moved to the social media. 2 years of social media, I went from 0 to 15,000 people on Twitter, 0 blog posts to more than 525, and a rather stellar reputation as a social media person, a blogger, writer, and engager on Twitter. Again, that's not a humble brag. That is reality. My goal when I was a music student was to graduate and do my very, very best. My goal when I'm on social media, blogging or writing is to do my very, very best. When I'm in my real life and I'm going to my job, I'm teaching a class, I'm with those I care about here in Japan or with my friends, I'm trying to do my very, very, very best. And that seems like that would be everybody in the world, but it isn't. Most people don't give a full effort. Either they can't, or they won't, or more often they're afraid to give that full effort. And I've talked a lot that I fail a lot. Those music days, my goal was to be a music teacher and later music professor. I teach English in Japan. I failed in that endeavor. Social media, writing and blogging, my goal was to be able to write weekly for a publisher to make a few bucks and perhaps get out of the card flipping dancing monkey gig that is my life. And I can tell you that tomorrow morning, bright and early, I will be limping out of this door after a long bus trip this week to my company to work all day and the days and weeks and likely years after that. And I have failed at that goal. And I have failed, I'm certain, my lovely, lovely wife and those I care about to some degree by not reaching my goals. But the difference between me and the people I see who fail is that tomorrow I will go to that job. Tomorrow I will write that blog post. I will be tweeting. I am up every morning at 4 a.m. or even earlier these days to practice the piano. It's not about not getting the goal, and it's not even about not giving up. I have no idea what the future looks like for me. I could walk to work tomorrow and get hit by one of any number of cars who fail to stop at a red light, a stop sign, or think that a small, narrow little street is a superhighway. But I could also live to be 122. And I often wonder what I will think of my life at that last moment when it's just me, that last breath, and whatever comes next. And that's why I try so hard at every aspect of my life. Of course I want the money. Of course I want the fame and fortune. Of course I want more in my life. But I'm probably not going to remotely get all of my dreams and goals and heart's desires. And that's the way it goes for basically everyone. But I have to, within me, know that I did everything I could to get the most out of my life. I don't want the regrets of wondering, what if I had practiced a little harder? What if I had written more blog posts? What if I had written more books? What if I had tweeted more and engaged more people on social media? What if I had found more work? What if I had taken that overtime class from my company? What if I had gotten up early or stayed up a little later to get things done? But I never say that because I make a concerted effort in my virtual and real life to be that person 100% of the time. And that's a rare quality. So when you are faced with a life challenge, when you do not reach the goals and dreams that you have, don't sit down lamenting what wasn't, isn't, or even cannot be. Stand up and go about the business of being the best you that you can be in life. That's it, and have a great, great day.